Welcome back to Bullet Basics. Today we are excited to talk to you about compact pistols like we're excited every day. Doesn't make any difference because we're talking about guns. Specifically though, you're wondering about what are compact pistols and really probably what makes them different from other types of pistols, other types of guns. And so that's what we're going to talk about. But before we do, we have a marketing word or a marketing message from our marketing team. Norm has worked hard on this message. He said he's improved substantially since the last video. And so we are excited. Take it away, Norm. Subscribe and like. Well, we may have to have somebody sit down with Norm and help us with those videos, those parts of the videos. However, let's get into the real part of the video and talk about compact pistols. So, I have one here, and this is the Koenig TP9 SF Elite, and this was this is honestly the first entry I had. I've shot, Glock 19s a million times, as well as several others in the industry, but this is the first one I ever bought. It was years ago when it first came out, several years ago now. And then we have another one that's kind of flirts with being a subcompact, but isn't quite. And this is one I bought years ago in school when we had no money, but I wanted to get a gun. And this is a Taurus. What is it? The Millennium G2. And it's been a great gun too. It gets a lot of flack in the industry because it's inexpensive and it's made by Taurus and stuff, and I don't know, but I found it to be a great gun, and I got it years ago. So, compact pistols, what are they? We've broken it really down into just a couple of steps that differentiate compact pistols from other types of pistols. And so, specifically, talking about size. Compact pistols are generally slightly smaller than duty pistols, full-size pistols, whatever you want to call them. That are, the Glock 17s, the M&P 9s, the Springfield XDMs, those types of pistols that are much bigger. They hold, anywhere from, 17 to 19 rounds or more, depending. And those are kind of those full-size pistols, where compact pistols are one step down from that, where we're right in the middle of being really small guns and really big guns, and it's just kind of, honestly, the perfect size gun. As you can see, it comes right to the bottom of my hand, and it just is a big, substantial gun. This one, what does it hold? 15 plus 1 in the TP9 Elite. And then this one I think is 12, which is kind of behind in the industry. Yeah, it's 12 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. But it is a little bit smaller if you were to compare these two side by side. If I put this one in front, right? It's shorter, and then it's definitely shorter in the grip. And so, but it does kind of fit in that compact zone, and so there's no real rule for it. This makes it a compact. This doesn't. There's just kind of general guidelines, and so we've kind of broken it down into those specific things. It all depends on the barrel length, the round count, the weight. So if we're breaking it down into those sections, if we're talking about the barrel length, right? On a compact gun, the barrel length typically is around 4 inches, slightly bigger than that. It can be slightly smaller than that as well, but roughly 4-inch barrel length. As well as I just have it written down here, round counts, just so I don't forget. Round counts can be anywhere from 12, 13, 15, can be higher than that, but usually you get into the full-size guns when you get bigger than that. So the round counts are roughly around that. If we're talking about weight, it all depends. 21 to 29 ounces, more or less, but that's one thing to remember as well, is when you're looking at guns, the industry changes, right? Guns get lighter, guns get more advanced, things will change. But if we're looking at the compact guns, it's anywhere from 21 to 29-ish ounces. And so that gets us in the zone, gets us an idea of what a compact pistol is. But you can also just you can also understand just by looking at how it feels. I just have normal size hands, more or less, and it feels kind of right to the bottom of my hand. And that generally, right, is a compact gun, whereas full-size guns for me anyway, tend to go a little bit further down. And I have one here. I'll get out in just a second. And then micro compacts or compact guns, subcompact guns, tend to really only go to like my third knuckle, so up here. And so that's generally the size. This is what you're looking for, what you're looking at. So then, if you're looking, what is the purpose of a compact gun? Really, I would say the purpose. It's kind of the meeting place of these big guns, where you don't want to have this gigantic duty-sized gun, and you don't want to have a tiny little one, but you still want a fighting weapon. I would say this is kind of right in the zone. It's big enough that you can get a substantial number of rounds in there. You can get your entire hand on the gun. You can do what you need to do with it. And you could even conceal it if you tried. I don't typically, because it doesn't really work with how I dress, I guess. And so I don't typically Glock 19s, Koenig, the TP9 Elites, any of these types, sizes of guns, I just don't even try to conceal. I go for much smaller guns. But that kind of gets us a better idea, right? So then if we're looking, okay, so then what are the strengths of compact guns? What are their strengths? And I would just go back to what I just said. So right, high capacity, if you're comparing to, it all depends on what you're comparing to, because everything's relative to some extent. And so if you're comparing to subcompact guns, well, the huge advantage is that you've got one magazine in the gun that has 15 rounds without having to switch things out, as well as it's fairly concealable. You could conceal it if you wanted to. Like I said, I don't typically do that, but you could. And then it's just kind of not too big, not too small. It's just right. And so it's perfect for people that are looking for a gun like that, where maybe they're, especially if you're a smaller person, generally speaking, and you don't want to have this massive handgun, this would still probably work for you, and it wouldn't be too big. But just for most of us, it's just a very comfortable size of gun. I don't know what it is about them, but they just fit right. And so that's kind of their strengths. Obviously, there's some weaknesses, and it does depend on what you're comparing to. If you're comparing to full-size guns, you're losing a couple of rounds. You're losing grip space, I guess. And you're losing, when comparing to subcompact guns, you're losing concealability, right? It's a fatter gun than subcompact guns. It's a taller gun, right? If you're concealed carrying, it's a much longer gun when comparing to some of the others. In every dimension, it's just bigger, right? So if you're looking at for a concealed carry, it really just depends on your purpose. And so define what the purpose is. What are you looking for? What are you wanting it for? If it's a home defense gun, fantastic gun. Definitely get it. It'd be great. If it's a concealed carry gun, that may not be what you want to do. You may want to go a different route for a gun that's much more concealable, one that you'll actually carry, because then I guess that'd be the other thing, is the weight, right? They're heavier than concealed, much smaller guns. And so look at the purpose, look at what you're doing it for, and then judge off of that. So let's pull out a couple of guns, and we're going to go and compare them. Just kind of quick comparison. We're not going to do any measurements or anything like that, but we're going to do a quick comparison to some other guns of different sizes. So the Koenig TP9 Elite, we're going to compare to the Koenig TP9 SF, just the SF version, not the Elite. So as you can see there, so I'm just kind of holding them as level as I can. So the TP9 SF is the tan one back here, is longer. It's definitely got a longer grip due to the couple extra rounds. I think 2 extra rounds you're getting. As far as width, I mean, I don't know that you're getting any skinnier. But you know what I mean? It's slightly smaller. So if you're looking at this gun, it definitely sticks below my hand significantly. And then it just is a longer gun. Whereas, as I said earlier, this one is like right to the bottom of my hand. Whereas if you compare it to something like the M&P Shield, right, it's going to be substantial. So if we put the backs more or less together, right, the TP9 SF Elite in the back, that the two-toned one, is significantly longer in the barrel or in the overall length. And then as you can see there, it's significantly longer. But in addition to that, now we're talking about the fact that it's wider too. Right, I don't know how well that comes across. The color's kind of changing, but I don't know how well that comes across. It's definitely a wider gun. And let's look at the grips too. Right, the grip is just wider. It's just bigger and wider, and so it's longer too. It's probably about the same size actually on these two. So it's just kind of that middle space, kind of right in the middle. What you're looking for is that just one that fits your hand just right. It's not too small where you have fingers hanging off, and it's not too long that you have substantial amount of gun below your hand. And so it really just all depends on what you're looking for and what your purpose is. If you can define that, it's a lot easier to know which one you're going to get. Okay, one last thing before you go, and that is engage with gun channels on YouTube. YouTube, obviously, there's been friction with guns and gun channels on YouTube in the past years. And so what we're trying to do is get people to engage with good content, obviously, on YouTube. Like, subscribe, watch videos all the way through, comment on the videos. And that way we show YouTube that there's a thriving community of people that want to see this content, that don't want it kicked off of YouTube, that don't want it restricted on YouTube and all that, right? We love guns. We love gun videos, and we need to show YouTube that so that they can not restrict videos and not put the restrictions on them that they have in the past. So watch videos all the way through. That's the biggest indicator to YouTube on whether this is good content or not. So obviously don't just do it for the sake of doing it, but do it if somebody's got something good to say. Don't just cut off halfway through. Watch it all so that we can show YouTube, yes, we want to be here. As always, bury the trolls, ignore them completely, and do good comments on all the videos you watch so that people get buried and that no one even notices that they're there. Life's happier that way. Hopefully this was good content for you. Like, subscribe if it was. Otherwise, leave us some feedback in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.